Hey there everyone, Paradise Gamer 13 here, and I've got a actually a somewhat halfway decent X and Y OU battle for you today. My team is nothing particularly special. I've got a very physical, I think it's Life Orb, Barbarical, a Choice Specs, Noivern, which, as you'll see later in the battle, I maybe didn't have the best set on it. I have Dragon Pulse instead of Draco Meteor, and that kind of potentially cost me the battle, as did some potential other choices, but I'll go over that later. The Mamoswine that I typically use on my OU rain team, except this one, instead of Expert Belt, this one has Focus Sash, which ends up being pointless because my sash gets broken. And again, I'll go over that later as well, but also Lucario slash Mega Lucario, Trevenant. And I'm sure I'm probably not the first one to do this strategy, but Trevenant is really awesome because, first of all, it has pretty good attack and pretty good speed, if I remember correctly, and most notably, it gets the Harvest ability, which is really awesome, especially since I'm pretty sure he's the only ghost type that can that has that ability, and that's somewhat significant, at least to me, because you know, like, one of the big uses for that ability is like Executor or Trapias. Well, not really so much Trapias because no one uses that, but Executor, you know, with using Substitute and until you get the Citrus Berry and so on and stuff like that. Whereas I use a, I think my set is Horn Leech, Shadow Claw, Protect, and Curse. So I can curse my opponents and get myself down to the Citrus Berry range, and then just Protect and Horn Leech, potentially. The problem is, I don't recall exactly what his stats are, but I don't think Trevenant is really that bulky, so maybe this isn't such a good idea. But it was interesting, and it actually kind of worked a little bit to my advantage in this match, which was kind of interesting to see. So I'm interested to see how useful that set is. And then finally I got Aromatisse, which is pretty useful. I mean, fairy types are, you know, they're advantageous against, you know, to use to some extent, but there aren't really any particular ones that really stand out to me. Aromatisse is pretty good, you know, kind of bulky, but it doesn't really have like a you know, any outstanding abilities or anything like that, unfortunately. That being said, though, I'm pretty sure this one is especially defensive, because it's a calm minding sleep rest talking set. So I'm pretty sure I have it maxed out in special defense, but I kind of second guessed that after watching this battle. I'll let you guys be the judge of that, but the Alakazam just completely wipes it out. Granted, I think I already had some damage on me, but still. Anyways, let me go ahead and get started because I've rambled on long enough. So I started with Mamoswine to potentially get rocks up, you know, to try to break the Dragonite's multi-scale and the, you know, damage the Volcarona, but he leads off with Fortress, which was kind of obvious, but anyways, I switch into Noivern to try to take this thing out before it gets too many hazards set up, and obviously, you know, the Sturdy, so I go for another Flamethrower here. I knew he was probably going to switch, but I didn't really care, you know, because he could stay in and, you know, maybe he has like a Custep Berry or something and try to get up that last layer of spikes. I'm not 100% certain what item he had there. I didn't really even pay attention, but anyways, I switch into Aromatisse as he goes, after he goes into Dragonite, to take the Dragon-type move. Wasn't sure if he would still go for that, but he did. So I make the super obvious prediction here, and I think I go for... no, I think I switch out here, if I'm not mistaken. No, I stay in. No, I do switch out, yes. Can't remember what I did. I switch into Noivern, because he can actually take on quite a bit of his team. Or so I thought, and then I remembered that Azumarill is part Fairy-type now, which I completely spaced out about. And of course I'm choiced, so I'm really screwed here. But thankfully, Trevenant takes the 4 times attack Aqua Jet somewhat well. Not really all that well, but I do get my Citrus Berry and restore my health a little. I get poisoned, but I get the Citrus Berry again, and that is always nice. So this gives me the opportunity to go for Horn Leech here and wreck the Azumarill. Then I believe he goes into Volcarona, which is kind of an obvious choice. And I'm expecting him to think that I'm going to switch out, because why wouldn't I? And of course he goes to the Quiver Dance, which is really predictable to do. So I go ahead and go for the Curse. just, you know, for the heck of it. I don't think, yeah, I don't get the citrus berry on this turn, I don't think. Or do I? Yes, I do. Okay, so I lied. I get the citrus berry, I heal up, but I don't get the second one. No, that's right, okay. So then I just go for the protect, because I know he's going to go for fiery dance, and sure enough, he does. So I just wait for him to get a little more damage off from the curse, and now I switch into barbarical. So not thinking that he obviously is going to be faster than me, definitely. He does hit me with a fiery dance, which doesn't do much, but it does raise his special attack again, and there's no way I would live a bug buzz, especially since I think I have... I mean, I don't have any special defense EVs invested in this thing. I'm not even sure how good it is. Like, its base stats is normally for that. But anyways, the curse does kill it on this turn, which is kind of nice. So, there's that. Anyways, I send in Aromatist thinking he might go into Dragonite again. And he goes into Conkeldurr, which is pretty much just as good. I take it out with a Moonblast here because he just stays in. And yeah, that was pretty nice. And now he goes into Alakazam, and this is where problems begin to happen. So I stayed in, and I was going to go for Rest, but he outspeeds me, obviously, because Aromatist has no speed whatever. But I thought maybe I could live that. Was not the case. I go into Lucario and Mega Evolve, because I'm like, he can't take me out with one Psychic. But he crits me, and it's like, I don't know that would particularly mattered. But regardless, I go into Trevenant now, and he still outspeeds me, which I wasn't 100% certain of that. But I thought maybe I could outspeed him, but I wasn't sure. And I'm actually going to pause right here for a second, because this is where I potentially maybe could have won the game, but didn't. Okay, so I have two potential routes here that I, looking back on it, probably could have gone with. Had I put Draco Meteor on my Noivern, you'll see after the damage from Dragon Pulse, I would be willing to bet that I definitely, almost certainly could have taken out this Alakazam with a Draco Meteor. And then... But would I have been able to do much against... I mean, I could have used it again against Fortress had he gone into that, but, you know, it would have done probably enough, maybe, to Dragonite, depending on who he goes into next. But it could have potentially, you know, done enough to Dragonite to break his multi-scale and, you know, set up the kill for Mamoswine. But chances are he probably would have went into Fortress next anyways, and my special attack would have been abysmal by the time he sent out Dragonite. But the more probable thing that I potentially should have done is I should have basically sacked Mamoswine, gone into him instead of Noivern here, and went for the Ice Shard, got enough damage off of Alakazam, and then I could have, like, hands down killed it with Dragon Pulse. Like I said, it still does a lot of damage. And then I could have potentially, I assume, taken out the Dragonite, maybe. That still would have been a bit of a tough call with, you know, with the Dragon Pulse, but especially I don't think he has multi-scale up right now. I'll have to see, but anyways, it was a bit shady decisions that I made. But anyways, I go for the Dragon Pulse thinking maybe I can kill him, but it doesn't quite, and obviously I get taken out by the Psychic. I'm kind of surprised he didn't Mega Evolve, if he even has the Mega Stone with this Alakazam. But anyways, I go into Mamoswine because that's the only one I have left. Go for the Ice Shard. That takes it out. He goes into Fortress next for some reason. He probably could have just gone into Dragonite and taken me out with an Outrage. But I guess, I don't know, maybe he just wanted to get more poison damage on me to make sure he gets the kill. Which isn't a bad idea, but I mean, like I said, I'm pretty sure he would have killed me either way. But anyways, I go for the Ice Shard. No, he does have multi-scale up. So either way, I probably would have been kind of screwed, I guess. I don't know. I probably should not have used Dragon Pulse on that Azumarill. That certainly didn't help things, but yeah. As for this battle, like I said, I know it wasn't anything great, but it's the first, like, at least team that from, you know, X and Y based team that I put together that actually can compete and you know, with other teams. That was the first battle I did with it too. Not to make excuses, but I was kind of rushed too. I had to be somewhere in 10 minutes. I was like, I'll just try to do a battle real quick and see what this team is like. I think it only lasted, like, I mean, 4 minutes maybe. I mean, I slowed it down here a bit, so... And honestly, I mean, it was both of me and my opponent both selected our moves fairly quickly. So it was a pretty fast-paced battle by all means. Which probably, you know, I would say partly led to me not thinking as clearly. But, I mean, I don't think that clearly most of the time anyways, so that probably had no bearing on it. Anyways, though, like I said, I know this wasn't anything great, but it was really my first kind of main, like, team that I felt somewhat confident in. I might go back and, I don't know, I'll have to, you know, check Romatis's special defense. I'm pretty sure I maxed that out, but maybe not. And then the other thing, you know, consider changing Dragon Pulse to Draco Meteor, but I don't know. I'm back and forth on that. So anyways, though, like I said, let me know what you guys think. You know, feel free to criticize this team and stuff and my strategy, I guess, in this battle, if you can even call it that. And if you guys did like this video for some reason, then feel free to hit that like button. I would really appreciate it. And you can also subscribe to my channel if you want to get notified of more content when that comes out, and potentially more X and Y related battles. So that is going to be it for this video. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks again for watching.